have any more stories?
That's what I said,
You fool.
I don't know whether I want to talk about it or not. Might be bad influence on grandyoungins.
Did you?
They mix them up every year.
Which one's yours? The green one's yours?
Green one is mine.
Well, what's the difference? Is it hooked to the wrong thing or is it in the wrong place?
Hooked to the wrong thing and it's in the wrong place.
Well, y'all should feel fortunate. If I had my way, they wouldn't be even hanging them. Keep telling her she's gonna burn the house down. She
won't build a fire.
No, I have to think about some of the things. Sometimes, since I had got into this, the World War II submarine veterans, a lot of that mess come back to my mind that had happened.
That you just completely forgot about?
Yeah, and just when I got to reading this guy's book, I could relate to that. There was some in it. Now we didn't play havoc with the Japs as much as he did. They didn't. Nobody. But that guy got 5 Navy crosses and
That's that chair he's sitting
and
in.
the Medal of Honor. This guy on this thing here, that was getting over close toward the end of the war, and he got out there and he just hunted. He run on the surface till a plane would run him down. He'd run on the surface because you could, with the on surface and with your periscope extended as high as you could get it, you could see a lot further to see the Japs ships running around out there. And once that he ever found one, if he could get his torpedoes to explode, he gonna sink something because he could get in there close enough where he could shoot them dead on without having to set up a target to. I mean, set up a run for the torpedo to run. You know, you could set them things, they'd go out and turn it to a certain degree, and you had to figure out where the ship was going to be and things of that nature.
She was telling me she was wearing an off-white suit.
He give fits, I mean.
Let her know.
And the skipper we had on the Tambor there, he was aggressive, but he wasn't that aggressive. See, you've heard me tell about almost catching the tang, didn't you? Well, I went out on the Sandlance, we come into Midway to top off with fuel and everything, and for minor repairs that we needed, things we figured out needed to have done after we left Pearl Harbor going to Midway. We come into Midway, and we'd been submerged a good little bit, and when I had a cyst on my jaw, and that thing would swell up every time that we run submerged for an hour or two. The side of my head would start swelling up. When we come in there, the pharmacist come to me and told me, says, well, you need to go pack your duds, says you're going to get transferred here anyway. And I said, why? And he says, well, the captain's scared that you liable to get out there on patrol, the side of your head swell up. I said, we might have to stay submerged a lot. And says, you liable to get in bad shape out there. And we wouldn't have nothing to doctor you with, or nothing to do. It says, we're going to put you off here, and when we come back through, we'll pick you up. So, sure enough, they transferred me off, and when they set it up for me to go to the dentist there, and I went up there to the dentist, and he made an x-ray of the thing. He said, yeah, you got a big old cyst laying right there on your jawbone, or that they had pulled, or Dr. Red at the union had pulled an abscess tooth, and that made that cyst grow on there. So they said, well, you come in and said, we're going to operate on him. Well, I figured, well, surely they'd have, well, come in there, and one of the dentists helped me, and the other one cut it out. And my jaw, that just like killed me, I thought, and then after they got it cut out, I'd have to go every day, and they'd pack a sulfur rag down into there where they sewed it up off one little hole, and they'd pack that in there so that it would heal from the inside out, rather than it just, I'd have had another cyst in there was what would have happened if they hadn't done that. Well, after a while, I got well from the thing. Well, here comes the tang in there to refit. Well, they put me in a refit crew there. when a sub come off patrol run into Midway Island, they'd move up there in them old barracks that was there. For rest, they didn't have to stand watches on the boat, didn't have to do nothing. They didn't wanna do. And there was a crew there that would just go down and take over the boat, they'd clean it up good for them. If you had any motors, on my part of it, if you had any little electric motors or their phones need working on, well, we'd go down and work on the thing. Well, the tank was a boat sort of like the barn was. When Richard O came, who was the skipper on that thing, when he could find something, you could bet your bottom dollar he was gonna sink it. He wasn't scared of them no more than nothing. He'd just go right into them and start blowing torpedoes out of the tube. And it wasn't nothing to him to sink 7 or 8 ships every time that he went out. So, when we got through with the thing, they began to get ready to go, went down and looked on the board and they had my name on there to go to sea on the tank. And there's a boy that was a electrician mate that was there with me. And I says, good Lord, they got my name on there to go to sea on the tank. I says, I don't want to go to sea on the tank. I says, Richard O'Kane is trying to win the war by himself, and he ain't gonna make it. This old boy was from Arkansas. He says, let's mean you go to the office and see if they'll let me take your place. Says, will you agree for me to, if they'll let us swap out? I said, yeah. I says, I don't want to go with him. I'll be frank with you. I says, he's just too careless. Well, see, what had happened, he used to be on the Wahoo. Well, Mush Morton was the captain on there, and he was executive officer for him. Well, when he come off of that last patrol run with them, well, he got the tank, which was a brand new boat. But before he got back out there, the Japs had sunk the Wahoo, so he decided he's gonna get revenge off from them for killing the crew that he'd been with so long and everything he wanted to. But anyway, we went down there to see them. They said, yes, y'all, you swap, says they'll take this other guy. Said, if he wants to go and you don't want to go, that'll be good. So this old boy, he says, the Tang is gonna make a name. Says it'll go down in history. And says, I wanna be with them. So he went with them. Well, next time that we heard from the Tang, it had been sunk.
Made history.
Yeah. And what had happened, Richard O'Kane had found him a convoy of about 8 or 10 ships. Here he comes submerged in there, right up under him, surfaced right there and began to blow torpedoes out of the tube instead of having his sound man to stay on them torpedoes to know which way they was running. See, we could put the guy with the sound here, you could pick up the screws off that thing and tell which way it was running and how it was running and everything. Instead of him doing that, well, he was so busy trying to get rigged up to sink another, and there wasn't nobody watching that thing. And one of his torpedoes went out there, and here it come back and hit him, and there was 8 guys on top side when it hit, and it blowed them clear of it. And the Japanese picked them up, and they was prisoners of war. And that old boy that took my place is over there right close to Japan on the bottom of the ocean right now. If I'd have been along there, I'd have been right down there with them there.
There wouldn't be any of us that here in this house.
It might be here.
It changed his life. There's no telling where he'd be sitting right now.